Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is an open meeting of the Seward, Nebraska governing body. The city of Seward abides by the Nebraska Open Meetings Act and conducting business. A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is displayed on the north wall of this meeting room facility as required. Disclosure of meeting recording processes is posted in the meeting room. A participant sign-in sheet is available for use by any citizen addressing the council. Presenters shall approach the podium, state their name and address for the clerk's record, and are asked to limit remarks to 5 minutes. All remarks shall be directed to the mayor, who shall be determined by whom any appropriate response shall be made. The city of Seward reserves the right to adjust the order of items on this agenda if necessary and may elect to take action on any of the items listed. Please call the roll.
Beck.
Here.
Colterman.
Here.
Streisand.
Here.
Camprith.
Here.
Singleton.
Here.
Hendricks.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Wilkin.
Here.
Our first item this evening is the draft minutes of December 21st, 2021.
Move approve.
Second.
The motion and a second is there for discussion. Saying none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor are Wilkin, Beck, Camprith, Colterman, Miller, Singleton, Streisand, Hendricks, 8-0.
The next item is the consent agenda for this evening.
Move approve. Second.
The motion and a second is there for discussion. Saying none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor are Wilkin, Beck, Camprith, Colterman, Miller, Singleton, Streisand, Hendricks, 8-0.
Next, we have administrative items. Item number 1 is consideration of authorization for the city of Seward to provide a letter of intent to the Nebraska Department of Economic Development for application to the Community and Civic Center Financing Fund Program. Dr. Domini, welcome.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Pass it around. Thank you. It's good to be here with you again today. Janet Hughes is out of town, so you get the B team, unfortunately, today. But it's good to be with you. We are here tonight to talk to you just about the Civic Community Center Financing Fund, and that is a fund that the state of Nebraska has, and it's a turnback taxes towards community centers, wellness centers. But of course, this year it was impacted by not having a lot of the concerts and events at the Pinnacle Center. And so there's not quite as many funds available, but there are some funds available. So we'd like to encourage you to authorize the mayor to sign a letter of intent to apply for the CCCF funds. As you can see in this document, the funds can be used for wellness centers, convention centers, cultural centers, any of those types of facilities. And the grant cannot exceed that 50% of the total project cost. So as we've talked about in the past, we're looking at that $12 to $15 million, and so we're not anywhere near that 50% when we apply for this. And so I should have started with the amount. On the back, you'll see on that where it says Table 1, the grant maximum schedule. So for a city of our size, of under 10,000, the maximum is $375,000. Just to give you a comparison, in years past it was $562,000 for a community our size. So it is smaller, and it is going to be very competitive for that $375,000. But your authorization tonight would allow the mayor to sign a letter of intent that we plan on applying for that $375,000, and then we'll work with the city to finish that grant and get that process and submitted to the state of Nebraska. But you can see here we've got the deadline of January 15th is the letter of intent. The full application will be due then in February, and then anticipated award date is in March. And then the contract term is 2 years, so that would be within our window to our hopes of being able to finance this project and get everything started that 2-year window. So again, you have the amount there that we're going for, and tonight is just an authorization for the mayor to do that letter of intent. Happy to take any questions you might have.
Any questions? Yes.
I have a couple. So, first of all, I'm supportive of this, and I think we need to apply for it. The second question I have is, with our other application for the other grant, have we submitted that yet?
The grant for?
The matching funds, the shovel road.
Yes, that was submitted on July 1st, and so.
And so I was supposed to ask you, have
yep.
you received confirmation?
We have received confirmation.
Okay.
Yes, we have. And so I contacted them right before the end of the year, asking them if they want our written pledges listed, and they said they were going to send a template within this next month.
Okay.
And so we'll be giving them all of our written pledges and the amounts for that matching $5 million, yes.
I have a question. Is this classified as a municipal project or a private project?
I believe, applying for this grant, it would be a municipal project, because the CCCFF, I always miss the F there, is only allowed for municipal projects, and that's why it requires your authorization for this one.
So do we have a contract or an agreement between your 501c3 and the city that shows that we are 50% owner of this project then?
It won't be figured out until they award the grant. The grant requires a nonprofit to be a part of the project to give the award for the state grant, the shovel-ready one. So the plan there would be, is likely what would happen is the land that's donated for the project would be in the name of the nonprofit, and then the project, the building, everything else would be owned by the city and leased for 100 years. So that's, but again, we're not entering into a bunch of contracts. If we don't get awarded that, then we can't fulfill. So we kind of have to walk as we're awarded and then put together the project. But ultimately,
So how can you apply for a grant that's only awarded to municipalities if the municipality doesn't own the project?
we'll own the building and the project. We'll bid it, we'll let it, everything will be done by the city.
The land is the part that would be under the nonprofit.
And there can be a mix of pool of money for all of these grants. The only thing was, for the shovel-ready grant, the initial 50% and the match could not come from a government entity. So other than that, you could have the whole rest of the project be government funded, 10% could be government funded, any mix, but those two pots of money had to come from private, non-governmental monies, thus the fundraising element that was undertaken by the committee.
Yes, Ellen?
Just a few more details, if you would, on the contract term, 2 years. You said it fit within your window. 2 years from when to when, from where does that fall?
2 years from the anticipated award date would be March 30th, 2022 is when that would be awarded. So March 30th, 2024, we have to have those funds expended. But with that 375,000, it could be part of those initial costs. It
Sure.
could be expended right away.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
The other element that's involved in this is right now, this project is currently under a CCCFF grant that was split with the village of Staplehurst for a project they had. So we have a split grant that helped with pre-development design to do anticipating community need, designing. So, hey, we're gonna do designs for you and estimates and general drawings and some schematics for this many court spaces, this size of pool with these dimensions, and then that will be put together to put into an RFQ by the city to go out and actually hire the final development team that would take over the project should all the financing be put into place. And if you guys approve it and the voters ultimately approve it, the sales tax initiative. If the sales tax doesn't go through, the plan is, and this has been communicated to everybody that donated, the sales tax doesn't go through, then everything is done. And then we stop with design and everything else, and it's just let go, including this grant. We can return back this grant in May. They'll be well aware of our process as part of the application. And if we say, hey, our final leg didn't work, there you go.
So is this an only one-time application, or, cause like with rec centers and things like that, does the cattle facility fit into that they could be getting funds for? So are you able to apply for whatever else, also like historical downtown districts are able to use it for rehabilitation and things like that?
There's very specific criteria. It talks about it, what it can be used for in the front. So wellness center, let's see, libraries, recreation and wellness centers, gathering spaces, convention centers, town squares, and cultural centers. But again, these ones are all government-owned facilities. So all of these have historically been like small town municipal auditoriums, like Beatrice's auditorium, if you've been in there for basketball, those kind of facilities, libraries. That's what this is for. I don't know, other than we applied for the wellness center a few years ago, and we were denied. Just in the competitiveness, not that the project didn't qualify, it's just we didn't outscore the other applicants at that time.
And we considered the library at one point at that same time as well. I don't believe we actually applied, but we're pretty limited on what we have that would qualify for this. In fact, they've expanded it because initially I don't believe it included wellness centers. So like you had there's only so many opera houses around Nebraska that qualified, so eventually they broadened it. I think McCook has one. Yeah, so a few opera houses got awarded, and then they needed to expand the criteria.
The
so
other
that
thing
more
is the amount of
communities-
money in it changes.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's very low funding in it, sometimes it's generous, it just depends on the state's budget.
Traditionally, just blanket ball fields usually are not funded by this, but something like an indoor facility may be covered. So, something like cattle where it has multi-use. So,
But at some point, it might make more sense just to fold that function into the wellness center, where you already have bathrooms and staff and facilities as opposed to maintaining a separate facility. But that's a conversation we'll have later if we decide to do that. But there's a lot of potential, but it's just, with any large project, there's going to be any number of revenue streams that are gonna be, considered. And, grants can be a big part of that as well. So we'll see what happens. But like Greg said, it's the linchpin is going to be the sales tax, proposal. So that's where the bulk of that would come from, the city.
I go ahead and move to approve that, the city of Seward, give the intent letter for the Nebraska Development of Economic Development application.
I'll
Second.
second.
All right, a motion and a second, is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor are Wilken, Beck, Camper, Colterman, Miller, Singleton, Streisand. Voting against is Hendricks, 7-1.
Next item, acknowledge receipt of claim from Don Blowbaum, 161 Plum Creek Lane, Seward, Nebraska, for personal property damage in the amount of $1,522.97, and forward to the city attorney and the city insurance carrier. Greg?
I can answer any questions you have specific about the claim, but I did review this one specifically with Kelly, and he said, send it on.
Any questions or comments, or is there a motion to send it on?
Make a motion to send it on to insurance.
A motion and a second, is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor are Wilken, Beck, Camper, Colterman, Miller, Singleton, Streisand, Hendricks, 8-0.
Okay, item number 3, authorization for mayor to sign all documents related to the city of Seward certificate of compliance to the maintenance agreement with the Nebraska Department of Transportation. Okay.
This is just our agreement with NDOT in regards to surface maintenance and snow removal and the quantification of our lane miles that are covered by that. And so just our annual certification of this. Answer any questions you have.
Any questions or comments, or would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
The motion to approve,
Yeah.
we have a second.
You can sign those.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor are Wilken, Beck, Camper, Colterman, Miller, Singleton, Streisand, Hendricks, 8-0.
Alright, next we have the city administrator's report.
Just a few highlights in there, layovers from our previous request. I did send the request in regards to highway lighting to Tom Goodbarn, and so we'll wait to hear back, but they send that on to their engineers in NDOT, so we'll wait to hear back what they say in regards to that. And then Bob Myers and the street crew did adjust their snow removal plan for Isaac Walton Road, Walker Road, and 294th, and so they'll just push through all that. And then if the county comes back and gives it a second pass, yay. But they'll just push all those through, and hopefully that will help out speeding that up with industrial traffic. So he had no specific issue with that. Other than that, I did sit in on, I've been emailing you guys updates from the health department on COVID. Just just continue to monitor that. I think the biggest one is we're seeing specifically increased numbers. All the hospitals in the Four Corners area, I was on a call with them this afternoon, said that transfers are becoming a big problem. They're not able to transfer in patients to, specifically Lincoln is the biggest problem at the moment, but there's certain types of care and treatments that they need done that they would normally take people to Lincoln for, not COVID related, and now they're unable to do that. So they're trying to find other places for them. And then the last one is just, you might have heard about the monoclonal antibody treatment. Sounds like there's a change up in recommendation that's gonna go through. I think Daryl, you were on the call with us today too. That the recommendation, because the Omicron variant has become so prevalent in Nebraska now, they have to convert that antibody treatment. And Daryl, correct me if I'm wrong, because when they went through this stuff, it was blowing my mind. But they're gonna have to hold off and not utilize the current one they have left. I think a few will do it in the next day or two, and then they'll move to the new variation of that antibody treatment, which is very effective. But the problem is it's incredibly hard to get right now, that new version to treat the variant. And so that's also gonna play some issues until that becomes more prevalent. And those were the main issues. I don't know, Daryl, if I missed anything.
The big takeaway I got out of it was the supply and demand issue. And right now, supply is not there.
Yep.
We're just not seeing the monoclonal stuff coming online as needed yet. So that was the big takeaway I took away from it.
So, again, you guys see, we used to get those almost daily, every other day updates, and now you're getting them about once a week. We're on the call every 2 weeks, but things are starting to ramp up, so we'll keep you informed as we go. Other than that, I can answer any questions you have in regards to the administrator's report.
Any questions or comments for Greg? Otherwise, you're entertaining a motion to accept the report.
Just a question, and I don't know if it was in here, Greg, but the last property over there by the water tower area, that was not moved before the first, obviously, right?
All we were waiting on, they have everything turned in, they had turned in their permits, they have a foundation, they have everything for it. All we were waiting on was a path. Cause you have to get, the city council actually has to approve a house moving. We don't know where they're going with it, like the path, so we can lower all the utilities or raise the utilities and do that. And so the last I heard at department head yesterday from Tim Dorek is he had not heard back from the contractor that's moving. That's all we're waiting on, so.
But the intent is to have it out
Yep.
there in
Our
very
intent
near-
is
near
to
future.
let them move it still, so.
Plus, it's only a single story, so it shouldn't be as bad.
Shouldn't
Yeah.
be that bad, yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Or entertain a motion to accept the report?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor are Wilkin, Beck, Camper, Tolterman, Miller, Singleton, Streisand, Hendricks, 8-0.
Any future requests for council agenda items or administrative action?
Are there issues with the downtown trash bins? I've seen a couple of them, like on 6th Street, are no longer there. Are they in?
I've not heard, but we can find out.
Okay.
You mean like the ones attached to the poles?
Yeah.
There's like some coffee in it a week ago.
What?
Well, the one right out in front of my salon, and then, or Squire Lords and and then the one across the street by the FedEx, whatever, they're both gone.
Bigger
So-
bill.
Did I pay my
Doesn't
bill?
work like
I'm
that.
pretty sure I paid my bill.
Doesn't work like that. You don't take them away, you're a trash can up there. So I'll follow with Bob and then,
I just didn't know if there, because I know the one in front of the salon had an issue of needing repaired, the bottom of it was out, so I didn't know if that was, those are the only two I noticed.
if they're in need of repair, this would be the time of year they would normally be doing those things. So they may have just pulled them to get the repairs done on them. So I'll check in with Bob Myers, and he oversees Craig. If you guys see Craig around, who does kind of the dumps those out, make sure they're all cleaned up and stuff, and does a great job. So if you see Craig doing it, I'll check in with Bob and then see if Craig knows anything as well.
Any other requests? Seeing none. Jonathan Jank, upcoming events.
Thank you, Mayor. All right, we have Coffee and Contacts networking events scheduled for Bell Chiropractic on Tuesday, January 25th, starting at 7:30 a.m. Our organization is continuing to facilitate the Zoom meetings on the last Thursday of each month at 1 p.m. about COVID-19 updates with Four Corners Health Department and other community sector partners. The next one is scheduled for Thursday, January 27th at 1 p.m. And of course, our upcoming annual awards banquet is being held on Monday, January 31st, the fifth Monday, at Harvest Hall on the Seward County Fairgrounds. We'll be celebrating the accomplishments of businesses and community leaders across Seward County, and ticket details are being released this week. With that, that's all. Thanks, Mayor.
Alright, thank you, Jonathan. With that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So,
Motion and a second, please register your votes, please display the votes.
Voting in favor are Wilkin, Beck, Camper, Coltman, Miller, Singleton, Streisand, Hendricks, 8-0.
Thank you, everyone, have a good evening and happy New Year.
It's,